Got no. Oh, there we go.
Cheer. You're good. What's going on, everybody? I forgot to put my glasses on. Spent all that time cleaning them, and I didn't even put it on. We are back. Episode number 32, I believe. Jonathan's not here. He's still at school. Jonathan is at school because he is such a good student. I can't even say that with a straight face because I don't really know. Special guest here today. We have Brandon in the house.
What's going on, everybody?
Brandon, you have heard us talk about on previous episodes. Brandon is our... Well, why don't you tell us what you do, Brandon?
I wear a multitude of hats here. I am our customer service manager, so I'm probably going to be the one that answers the phone when you call. I also oversee our buyback program. So when you send in your devices through our website, they come in to me, and I'm the one that primarily handles the evaluation, the email, the correspondence between me and you, the consumer, about your device.
Amazing. Brandon, we were just talking about you. I think last episode that'll be coming out this week. That what you do, I cannot do.
What might that be?
For many reasons. Because of just how I'm a pushover.
Okay.
Yeah. And we never get angry at clients here. We never get angry at customers. But customers, just like everybody in the world, sometimes, like me, do things that you're like, what are you doing? And you sometimes I hear it. I can hear a phone call, and I'm just like, I mean, he's keeping his cool. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably go home and cry for a little bit and then come back. So
yeah, I mean, listen, when you're in the customer service industry, as I'm sure a lot of you folks are, you have to kind of detach yourself a little bit. Not every situation is about you, the person. It's really about the situation.
Right.
So, what I have to do is just genuinely take me out of the thought process and just let them vent.
Yeah.
You're having an issue, understandably so. We're all consumers in some way, shape, or form. So being in that position, it can be frustrating, and sometimes you do want to lash back.
Yeah, right.
But, we got to keep it professional at all times.
Yep.
Our job here is to, all of us here is to do our best to take care of the customer, do what's right for them, and do what's right for the business at the same time, all while maintaining our composure at any and all times.
Yeah, well, if I didn't have composure to begin with, then don't need to maintain. All right, so let's get into the buyback process. So a lot of people that listen to the podcast, maybe they've never thought about it. Maybe they've got some tech laying around at home, or they're thinking about trading in, going up. How does that work? They fill out a form. Do they call you? Do they send it in themselves? What?
The easiest way to do it is, obviously, if you're in the Grove City area, you're more than welcome to stop on in. However, the way that 99% of our consumers go through that process is through our website, strictlyapple.store. There's a tab in the top right-hand corner that says sell your device. You'll fill that information out. We'll provide you with a free shipping label. What you're going to do is you're going to kind of, to the best of your ability, kind of get an idea of what your device's condition is, some specs, things of that nature. That kind of helps, gives us an idea of what gives you on your end, the consumer, what your device may be worth. We'll provide you with a free label. Once it gets here, I take a look at it. I look at some other things, the physical condition, verifying specs, things of that nature. And then, like I said before, I'll reach out to you and let you know what the real value is, and then we go from there.
Okay. So small short story. We're just talking about ADHD side stories. So when I got a new car last year, finally, something that I wanted, and I had a Chevy Cruze before, an Eco. It was stick. Loved it. I could get anywhere and everywhere in that thing really quick and hardly used any gas. And there's nobody drives stick anymore, so it was kind of a security feature. Yeah. I always wanted to put a security camera in there, have somebody jack my car, get in, and be like, "Oh crap, it's stick," and then just leave. I was like, "Oh, it's worth it." No, but anyway, when I traded my car in, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get a few $1,000s off, at least like $4,000 because it's the sale value, what was left. And then they told me when they said, they're like, well, honestly, we'll give you $500, but we're sending it straight to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
And I go, Ouch. That
Yeah,
hurt, you
it
know?
does. The thing with that though, when in the resale world as a whole, a lot of people don't know this, don't want to know this, but it's the reality of it. Especially in the tech world. These devices, your respective phone, your computer, whatever it may be, your television, are all really designed to be disposable.
Yep.
They all have a shelf life. Why? Because in some cases, depending on the product that you're looking at, there are items that literally come out seemingly every month in the Apple space in particular. Phones, we all know, come out like clockwork every single year.
Mhm.
So, because of that, the new one is the hotness. So,
Mhm.
therefore, everything else kind of goes down in value.
Yeah, but when people kinda like mine, I'm like, "Oh, man, it's my Mercedes." I entrust you with it, and then they said they're sending it to the scrapyard. So, when people send it in, give an upper take ratio. I was just thinking about this, like, an average. If you when you submit a device, do you
Mhm.
say it's like poor, average, good, whatever?
Yes,
How on point are people when they send it in?
I will
My
say
tech's the best tech, and you get it, and it's got a hole in it.
the thing that a lot of people do is everything is in excellent condition. No,
Yeah.
respectfully, it's not. More often than not, I would say about 70% of the time it is average.
Yeah.
But one of the
Average is good.
average is good.
Yeah.
Average is good, and but the downside with that is when I reevaluate your order, and it has excellent, and then I change it to average.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that.
Yeah.
Respectfully so.
Yeah, I wouldn't either,
But it is
because
as
I
the saying
think
goes.
highly of myself and how I
Yeah, and honestly, we as a culture, especially here in America, our devices are far more there's more sentimental value
yeah,
than ever.
yeah,
So
because your pictures are on there of your kids.
right,
You're on it every day. That's how you communicate with family.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So I to those who send stuff in and I change your evaluation, please don't be mad. I just have to go by what I see.
And sometimes it goes up.
In some cases, it actually does. Now, there have been a few cases where someone has sent something in. Actually, matter of fact, yesterday, someone sent in a device. It was a 2019 MacBook Pro, and I think they put 512 or no 256 on the storage.
Yeah.
It was actually 1 terabyte.
Oh, wow.
So that significantly bumped up the value.
Yeah.
Almost like $100 or so,
Whew.
which is a good thing,
Yeah.
and so just also don't forget, folks, when you do buybacks, right? We do payouts. We do essentially, technically,
That's
really,
what I was gonna talk about. How
yeah.
how does that work?
So it's very easy.
Is it
Again,
instant too?
for the most part, I usually pay you out within 24 hours.
Okay.
A lot of times, if I'm not busy, I can pay you out in a matter of like an hour.
Okay.
We do Cash App, PayPal, check, but we also started here recently, and it's really a benefit to folks, especially if you're looking to take your current device and upgrade it into something else. Whatever your value is, I'll add an additional 10% via a virtual gift card. I'll get your information over to our sales manager, Tony, who you guys have probably seen on the podcast before. I'll send your information over to him. He'll reach out to you, process a virtual gift card for extra bonus as long as it's being used here in the store for anything.
Is that good? How long is that good for? Do you know?
That doesn't have a shelf life.
Uh, uh,
It's there. Once it's in, you will send you the email for it, and that's it.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
pretty
what
dope.
is it? You said 10%?
It's additional 10%.
I'm thinking. Now I got my wheels turning.
I mean, who doesn't want a new product, right?
Right.
It's parents. It's the end of what we've got a few more months for school, right? So your kids have got maybe an iPad or something like that that's older, that's going to sit around for the summer. Get rid of it, get something for it now. So that way, when it's time for school to start over again, they're going to need another product. They're going to need something upgraded. Get the value, the highest value that you can now. Use that gift card, hold on to it, and then come see us again. August. What is it? July, August. Later in the year when it's time for your kids to go back to school, we're gonna have sales. Use that gift card. Just maximize your dollar.
Right.
That's just me.
Talk about with that, with trading in, say like kids, iPads or whatnot.
Mhm.
How old do we go back as far as, with iPads and phones?
The two common
Like
devices.
I got a banging 3GS. Do you guys trade that in?
I will tell you respectfully. if it has sentimental value, just hold on to
Okay,
that one.
especially the 3GS. That was my favorite.
Yeah, that was a classic. That was a classic. But no, it really, as far as phones are concerned, I think right now our website is set up to go back, honestly, as far as an iPhone
8?
8, I
Yeah, I
believe.
think so.
iPads, I want to say the oldest would be like maybe a 5th gen iPad,
Okay.
as far as the regular generation.
Right.
iPads are concerned.
Minis. We do all minis.
Computers, Macs, iMacs, MacBooks.
Watches.
Watches are probably going to be somewhere around 6th or 7th gen and higher,
Okay.
just because of the fact that the newer softwares, as far as your phone is concerned, only go back so far.
Okay.
As far as MacBooks are concerned, I want to say right now, I think the oldest is 2015, I believe.
Okay. Still a good one.
Still decent.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just doing some basic stuff like, web browsing or something like that, great. Or if you happen to have, older software laying around that you want to do some photo editing or something on, it'd be good for that. But
Right.
it's decent.
We also talked about, so yesterday, you came in, you're like, hey, check this out. And then I didn't see it until later on, until you had the controller in your hand. We just talked about it not too long ago on the podcast,
Right.
that we are not selling, but we are taking in gaming consoles.
Correct. So if you go to our website, we started taking in. We got our first Xbox. It's in 2 controllers and an Xbox One S. Now, for you gamers out there, I'm not a gamer. I'm an old guy.
It was just a red color, and I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, there was a red and white one and a white and black one, but there was an Xbox One S, which is pretty dope. It was literally in excellent condition. Actually, probably one of the.
Is that the kind where it only takes digital games? Or
This one in particular takes both. It does digital. It does actual like the streaming side, and that one had an actual disc as well. Pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not a gamer, so I was like, ooh, Xbox. But,
right. I have a PS4 that I never play, but my boy, he has besides his gaming computer, he's got something that doesn't have a disc drive. So you just get digital copies.
He probably has the Xbox One S, just the streaming version.
Yeah.
I'm old, so
I like discs.
My last don't laugh at me, people. But my last gaming system was a PlayStation 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I learned a lot on PS2. When I went to college, it just came out, and the guy next door to me didn't know him, but I heard a bunch of cops. I walked in there, and he was playing GTA. It's the first time I saw GTA. Was hooked automatically from there. It was on PS2.
I learned a lot. I don't have the patience for video games, so I'll stick to my sport of choice.
And now I'm getting dizzy. So, one more thing on that note.
Sure.
So let's talk about because I do hear you. So, like I said, I'll hear you from like an office over, and you're like, "Ma'am, okay, go ahead." And then you're just the things that you reply. I'm just like, "What is she talking about?" What have you ever gotten something the most memorable trade-in? Something that somebody sent in. You're like, "Where did you find this?" Or "Why would you even send this in?" Or
yeah, okay.
Or somebody that dropped something off here. You've brought me some interesting things.
the one that stands out the most, because I think we kind of briefly had a conversation yesterday, there was an individual who sent in, I believe it was an iPad. Now, the husband sent in the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
The husband sent in the iPad, and of all things, I want to say it was a Fruit Loops cereal box with like just a little bit of paper, and then of course that was the box. It wasn't like
this was shipped.
It was shipped in like this, and it wasn't like it was the Fruit Loops box in a box.
Yeah,
it was the Fruit Loops box was the box.
I'd be so excited
with newspaper. That's probably number one, but my favorite, because it was just like, I didn't think that UPS would allow that to come through, so that was just like, huh? But my favorite, again, husband and wife situation. The husband sent in an iPad, but he sent it in like like those Hallmark envelopes with like the terrible bubble wrap type stuff inside. It was. I picked it up and you can hear it. I'm like, oh, this is not good. I opened it up and glass fell out everywhere. I call the number on the order and say, "Hey, this is not worth anything." Come to find out, the wife picked up the phone and I was like, "Oh, hi, ma'am. My name is Brandon from Strictly Apple. I just want to let you know the device came in. I can't offer
In
anything."
many pieces.
She said, "Why?" And I was like, she said, I was getting ready to say why. She said, let me guess. He put it in a Valentine's Day little envelope thing. I said, "Yeah." She was like, "Dag nabbit." That's not what she said, but keeping it clean here. I was like, "I'm sorry." She was like, "No, he's stupid." She was like, "I am so sorry I wasted y'all's time and y'all's label. It, I'm a husband, so I get it. We don't
Yeah.
think sometimes. We just be doing."
We appreciate the comical value that
But
happened.
it was beautiful. It was a
Yeah.
moment.
He tried his hardest.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
And we appreciate that. Always try your hardest.
If nothing else, we have a story to tell.
All right. So let's talk about Brandon outside of Strictly Apple. First, what Apple devices do you own currently?
Wait.
What was your first iPhone?
Oh, my very first iPhone was an iPhone. I want to say iPhone 3.
Okay.
I waited in line. I'll never forget it at AT&T. And I was like the next to last one to get it, and people were pissed. It was cool.
Yeah.
But currently, what I'm owning right now, 15 Pro Max, probably my favorite
Same color.
twin. My favorite iPhone so far. I own an old school 2017 MacBook.
Okay.
That's more like my Chromebook
Yeah.
type thing. Recently bought a 15-inch MacBook Pro to do some video editing and stuff, which
Sure. Yeah.
shout out to this guy here. He knows what he's doing. Apple Watch, and
You got more than me.
I think that's it. I don't
Yeah.
have. I don't have.
You don't do AirPods or anything? Or a watch?
I mean, I got.
Oh,
a
you got a
watch.
watch.
Yeah, yeah.
AirPods?
I had AirPods, but they fall out my ears.
Do they?
Yeah, I'm
Oh, I see
more of
that.
an over the ear kind of guy.
They fall out of my ears too, even with the different pieces.
Mhm.
I tend to still use them a lot, but I can't do anything very active.
Yeah, no.
I can walk, but I've got actually, I won't get into it. I've got over the ear bass headphones
Yeah,
because I like to feel bass.
I feel
Like
you.
I went on a hunt for months to get the best bass.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, dude. I put it on people. I'm like, hey, listen to this. They're like, feeling
Yeah.
their soul. You know.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
'cause
Actually, my phone constantly tells me it's got a little alert now. It says your decibel levels
Too
are
high.
too high.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
it tells me again, they're like, this is dangerous for your health. I'm like, cool, turn it up.
Thank you. I can make my own
Yeah,
decisions.
right.
Bye bye now.
Smartphone. Gotta be smart.
Too much.
So with that being said, I know that you use your phone to record certain things.
Yes.
You have a
I do.
hobby.
Yes, I have a hobby.
Yeah.
And if some things are going in the right direction, it could be
More than a hobby.
Yeah, a little more than a hobby.
Good.
So outside of Strictly Apple, first and foremost, I'm a husband. I have 6 beautiful children, 21 down to 8 months old. So
If you're wondering why Brandon has so much patience, he has 6 children.
bruh.
Bruh.
Parents, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But outside of work, other than being a dad and a husband, I'm an avid bowler. Been in the sport since like the 4th grade. I'm 44, so that tells you anything. I've shot several 300s. Been on staff with a couple different companies and working on some brand deals right now. Actually, I got another one to tell you about.
Oh, yeah.
But I do record. I have a small YouTube channel where I do bowling ball reviews. And am I allowed to shout that out?
Yeah.
If you're a bowler or interested in bowling, my YouTube channel is called Back After 10 Ball Reviews. You'll see my lovely face on there. But yeah, I use my iPhone. Like that's what I use. I've always been taught and watched various content creators. They say always work with what you got.
Yep.
And for me, it's always been an iPhone. And not being funny to Android users in any way, shape, or form, because I know people that do. I find iOS to be the best base operating system to do that on.
Yep.
It's just very easy. There are a lot of different options. If you want to do the basic stuff that's on here, if you want to download apps, there's just so much to choose from. And if you're doing what I'm doing, trying to upgrade from using your phone or your iPad to edit videos, you can go up to, you can go buy a Mac, and you can come buy a Mac from us. I didn't spend a whole lot of money, not just because I work here, but I didn't buy a brand new one. I bought an older one, and it does the job.
Yep.
If you're in that realm like I was, honestly, I consulted our media guy here. I also consulted my sales manager to get his advice on, what I may or may not need. And you can do the same. Give us a call, 614-944-8073. Give us a call. We can collaborate together and find out what works best for you if that's something that you want to do. But that's what I do outside of work.
Oh, right on. And I know, I mean, it was you were talking about, and it's kind of a big point to hit home from one creative to another, that you work with what you got. And if there, it's not about if there's a will, there's a way. Now, I love tech toys. I mean, tech toys are my thing. I get in trouble for how much they're used for work. No, they're really toys. I love tech toys, but honestly, the stuff that I've created, even award-winning stuff, with but one being an iOS device, actually a phone, it, worth what you got because if you know an artist you want to create, it doesn't matter what you create with.
Correct.
I shout out to Steve Malone. He's a very good friend of mine, um, um, Army veteran. He was in the paratroopers, and he was overseas. He had gotten hurt, but that turned into he was a photographer before in high school and stuff like that. When he had gotten hurt, they were trying to find a new avenue for him.
Mm-hmm.
He started out with his phone. Paratroopers this is like in Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he started taking pictures of the artillery units that are doing, and then the troopers, and it got so popular
Mm-hmm.
that they made a whole division, like a Stars and Stripes division, for them
Really?
for media, and so that's what started that. So for like the last like 2-3 years, he was a head photographer for like all of Europe,
Wow.
like in the station. And the reason I say that is because there's a picture, and it's a really really famous picture in the military. It was on 3 different magazine covers. It's been all over billboards, and it's a paratrooper. He's got the completely black, green, brown camo paint that's
Mhm.
completely covered,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's got a pack on. You've probably seen it, and you just don't realize it. He took that with his phone
Really?
right before jump, like just like that,
Wow.
and billboards covers everywhere, like award winning,
That's
right?
sweet.
And
That's
it's
sweet.
because he just loved taking pictures,
Yeah, yeah.
and it doesn't matter what you have.
It doesn't. Some of my I mean, I've taken some photos of, my wife and kids and stuff like that, and, I years ago, I took a picture of my one of my daughters, and I had just posted it on Facebook and I think Instagram at the time, and I had people actually trying to ask to buy it, and
Really?
I didn't think that was a thing. I'm
Oh
like
yeah,
they're like, "Well, what kinda camera and what kinda lens did you use?" I'm like, I just used my phone."
yeah,
Like, "Your phone?
yeah.
Like, what did you edit with?" Like, does
The phone.
the little line things with the filters and stuff, like, that is there supposed to be more than that?
Right.
You know?
I think it was 2017, right before I really had jumped over. Um, I entered. It was the only time I did. I always thought about doing it after, and I always forget. But Arts in the Alley, the parade here in town,
Mhm.
there's a big photography competition, and
Okay.
it's pro and amateur. And then they had a subcategory that year was the first year, and it's called mobile photography,
Oh, okay.
because a lot of people love taking pictures of their phones.
Yeah.
So you submit it, you frame it. I did 3 frames. I put it in the thing, and I'm just like, I just want to say that I did it.
Yeah.
I framed him up. I took a picture, right?
Yeah.
Even if I get a participation award, it was something to do for me.
Right, right.
I got back when you got back after the judges after the first day. If you look behind it, they'll give you like it says the score, but they don't put it out yet.
Yeah.
And then I had a note on mine, a ticket on mine said on 2 of them that somebody wanted to buy my photos,
Wow.
like 2 of the judges, and I'm just like, maybe I could do this more for fun.
Sweet.
You know what I mean?
And then here you are.
Right? And it was just because it was what I had at the time, and I think it was like an XS Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
That camera actually wasn't that bad.
Oh no, it was
It really wasn't
my
bad.
my 3rd favorite phone ever.
Yeah.
3GS 5C XX Max.
Yeah, you in the 5C.
It's the colors, man.
I know.
like that neon.
I know. I know.
But no, I know how to get sentimental on that. But as creatives, work with what you got, and if you love
Right.
doing what you're doing, other people see that passion.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
We can help you here at Strictly Apple. I mean,
Yep.
I'm just quick, true story.
And besides that, we have done that too, where you're like, hey, this person wants to run Lightroom, CapCut,
Yep.
and this. What do you think? Sort of thing. And we will.
Correct. Yeah, we will collaborate.
Yeah, he's
with
not.
you
He's
in a
not lying.
heartbeat.
We'll collaborate with you and be like, hey, this is what I think personally. This is what I run. This will be good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not just an employee here, but I was a customer long beforehand. And if I had questions about whatever, all I needed to do was pick up the phone and ask. And I may not have bought right then and there, but I always came back, and I always felt like I was going to get an honest, respectable answer
Mhm.
to my question. And
Not just trying to
obviously here-
sell.
Not yeah, literally not trying to sell. Just you have a group of people here that just genuinely want to help you.
Yep.
Whatever that may turn out to be, whether it's a sale or not, having that relationship with, you as a consumer is really more important than anything else, So
Because happy people bring other happy people.
absolutely.
Yeah, we don't want to steer you wrong.
Nah. Not a good look.
Yeah, not steer at all. You probably shouldn't get in my car because I'm a crazy driver. Ask my children. And like, Dad, are you speeding? I heard that for the first time the other day. I was like, "Why don't you mind your business? Put your seatbelt back on."
It's the broke best friends.
You
man.
you can't even read the stops. You don't even know where the speed limit sign is.
You can't reach the pedals. Have a Coke and a smile and sit in the back.
Okay, so one more question for
Sure. What's up?
you. If you could give any a comment box, direct comment box at Apple, whether it be an app, software, a device that is not been invented or has been invented that you're like, man, you need to improve this. Like the way this happens, the way it's built, anything,
Ooh, that's
or an
a good
app
one.
that you search for that you just can't find.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a hard one.
That is very difficult. And I've been in and around the game for
It'd be an AI customer
long
service.
time.
So you could just,
No, because that would already listen. People already get mad enough at the fact that you call many a companies.
Yeah.
I won't say names because they're not being paid. They're not paying us to say this, but they get mad because they get the automated stuff.
Yep.
So I probably wouldn't want that. You know what? That's a good question. I think for me right now, man, that's a tough one.
even in bowling and you use your phone, what would you fix? I would
Okay,
say,
no, I got it. Not so much an app, but more or less feature set within Apple.
Okay.
And I use more hardware related.
Okay.
I love Apple. I do. I'm not a fanboy, but I love Apple. Apple, if you're watching or somebody from Apple
Tim, listen up.
watching this, Tim or whoever, please, for the love of God, bring SD card support because you guys can do it. 2, or B, bump up the base storage. Please. Optimize the operating system so that way a third of it isn't on the phone when we turn it on.
But then we wouldn't buy his cloud storage.
Yeah. About that. You need to speed that up too. Glad you said that because oh my gosh.
We talked about when Brian was here to talk about Android, the Android user, who didn't even know what phone he had.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. I said one of the things I was envious about of Android was it was open source.
Yeah.
But also storage
Mhm.
because he can just snap an micro SD card into there and get more storage, but also put movies on there, pictures, transfer everything off. And he goes, "Where would I do that?" So we were trying to break his phone down.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, for me, that at minimum, from a creative perspective, because I know a lot of customers call in looking for a device that they can, use to make their videos or whatever. One thing for sure would be, please upgrade the base storage. 128 is just really not enough anymore.
It used to be a bunch.
It's funny because when I started, you couldn't even take photos or videos in a phone unless you had an SD card.
Right.
And 8 gigs or 16 gigs was like expensive
Right.
back then. So it is what it is. But Apple, I feel like, has always kind of been behind with that. So if anything, like the Pro Maxes start at 256. Start at 256.
Yeah.
Please.
Agreed.
Please.
It'd be dope if we get like 2-3 terabytes.
Oh, that's got to be coming. Their phones overseas
But
already have that.
and you and I have been talking about this a little bit recently, as far as filming, going with SSDs because we have this phone now, being able to plug those in the back, to transfer. Do you, as far as I know, I said one more question, but I have another one. As far as workflow, when you do your bowling filming for your vlogs and your video sets, do you transfer onto an SSD, or do you airdrop them, or do they go in the cloud and you take them off on the computer? How do you do that?
Right now, and I'm actually kind of trying to work that out. As
Everybody's different.
Yeah, right now the goal is to upload everything to SSD, in one way, shape, or form. But right now I'm just doing direct airdrop from my phone to my computer, and then just obviously deleting it out of my phone just to save some space until I can get like I'm looking at like a 4 gig or
Yeah.
4 terabyte SSD right now.
Honestly, if I do any kind of like if I'm going to a client's and I just happen to capture with my phone some story videos, they're a little bit bigger. That's exactly what I do. I airdrop them.
Yeah.
And then I clear them off my phone at that point because
save some space.
Yeah, I don't
Erase useless stuff, people.
Yeah,
especially kids if you're watching.
Yeah, because I have 54,000 videos and I think 38,000 photos.
Good God.
Mm.
What's the storage on your phone? I got the base 256.
Hold on, let's see this. Hold on. I don't know what the base of. Wait, I don't know what the base of the phone is, but I do. Let's see.
I know my cloud storage is like 1 terabyte or something like that, but the base storage, I know I only have 256.
Right. Screenshots, 10,000.
Jeez, he said 10,000
Yeah.
people.
Videos, 30,802.
Good Lord.
Oh, okay, so let's look at how much. That's a good question. I know what phone I have most days, but I don't know anything else about. Let's see. Oh, not update. Storage, 256. And
Okay, so your stuff is all cloud based then.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah. Photos. Yeah, I only have 16 gigs of photos in here.
Oh, that's not a lot.
No, it's not.
So those individuals who argue with us about cloud storage, it is beneficial. The Android space, there's a multitude of options to choose from. However, again, part of the Apple ecosystem is streamlining everything. What I see, what I put on my phone, when I upload it to the iCloud, I can see it on both of my computers. I can always go back to my phone. You have that flexibility. So get cloud storage. It's worth it.
Yeah. And if you've ever, it used to be a lot more common back in the day, I'd say, because I do have sets of, one phone, which is probably like a year and a half span of my children when they were younger that I lost photos because cloud thing wasn't that big back then.
Yeah.
And I lost it hardcore on the phone.
Yeah.
So,
so please, before you guys, if you're searching
this
for
is a PSA.
stuff, before you send your stuff in, please back up your stuff.
Yeah.
Please just, because you can't, those are memories that you cannot get back if you lose them. So please just make sure you do that before you send it in.
Speaking of what we had talked about at the very beginning of the podcast, Jonathan is here. Say hello, Jonathan.
What's up, John?
Hello.
Jonathan, tell us a little bit about school for half a second before we have to run.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, did you learn anything that you can teach us today?
No.
Okay. What are we paying for
Sound like
school
my
for?
kids.
Oh, it's
I don't know.
it's free, I guess. Oh, I pay for in taxes.
Sure.
My tax money is going to your education.
Thank you.
That sounds like a kid's response.
Right?
Yeah,
You didn't want to go in the
know.
first place, so thanks.
I don't
I
know
guess.
how that works out.
Crazy.
This has been a very special podcast episode with Brandon. Thank you, Brandon, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We
for having
appreciate
me.
it. If you call in, you will hear from Brandon. And if you're mad at Brandon, Brandon loves you.
I love you anyway.
Yeah. And if you're just having a bad day, you want to talk to Brandon, call in. Talk to Brandon.
614-944-8073.
That's
heard
what,
it.
You heard it right here, folks.
That's right.
I'm writing it on the bathroom stall.
Alrighty then.
My name is Alex.
My name is Brandon.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we appreciate you guys coming. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Have a good one.